Is your acne so severe that you're actually glad that you have to wear a mask in public? Do you avoid eye contact with people when you're talking with them because you don't want them to notice your acne? These are some of the things that I hear from my acne clients. Acne grades 3 and 4 can really affect someone's self-image of themselves and really how they see the world and how they see that the world sees them. And the reason why is because grades 3 and 4, unlike grades 1 and 2, now we are going from mild, moderate acne to now severe, moderately severe acne to severe acne. And the number one thing that makes it more noticeable is the inflammation, the redness. Now we are having increasing significant amounts of red papules, red pustules, and some people might have very severe acne where they have nodules and cystic acne. And now, since I started over 12 years ago, now they've added another kind of unofficial classification where there's even now grade 5 acne in some classifications. So grades 3 and 4 are a little bit more trickier to treat because now the skin is significantly more inflamed. They have painful nodules and or painful cysts and or painful pustules. So now, not only are you trying to kill the bacteria that causes these acnes and try to control the oil, their skin may be really red and inflamed and more sensitized. Hi, my name is Christy and I have been professionally treating clients with acne, hyperpigmentation, and other skin conditions for over 12 years. And so I have sat down in person doing consultations with people who have such bad acne that sometimes they can't even give me eye contact, and other times where if the client comes in, they come in with their parent, which is usually the mom is doing most of the speaking while the teenager is sitting off to the side looking away and cannot give me eye contact. And what I have learned with treating these thousands of clients that have the more severe acne is there is a very delicate balance between, number one, trying to balance out for that client the balance between oil and water production, because obviously it's unbalanced to have that severe of acne. Number two is trying to reduce the inflammation while trying to decrease the acne. And it sounds counterintuitive, but typically when somebody comes in with very red and inflamed skin, the initial response would be, oh, we have to get this acne under control. But actually what I have found that the response is better with clients is reducing the inflammation first and then treating the acne. Because if you increase the level of acne control ingredients, which may have increased the sensitization and inflammation in their skin will respond sometimes even worse. So sometimes you have to treat the inflammation first, then you can treat the acne. Because then when the inflammation is reduced, sometimes their skin responds better to the acne ingredients later. And of course, the last one is determining which series of treatments and or ingredients works best for that individual person, because there are different environmental factors that can affect the severity of the acne. One of them is one that you cannot control, and that is genetics. There are actual genes that can genetically control how slow your skin cell turnover rate is and how much oil that you produce. The other one that you cannot control is whether you're a male or female. Males typically produce, because of the level of testosterone, that actually produces more thicker sebum and more of the sebum. So obviously, generally speaking, the more severe acne is more frequent in males. Now, I'm not saying that females don't get severe acne, they do, but more commonly you will see it in younger males. Now, the two other factors is something that the client can control, and that is stress, the amount of stress that's in their life and how they reduce the stress, because everybody has stress in their life. But if you are in a situation in your life stage where there's a lot of stress, we have to make conscious decisions to reduce that stress, because stress has been related to acne. And the other one obviously is diet. The food that you eat is directly related to the types of acne that sometimes can occur, including fungal acne, which is very stubborn to treat. One of the key dividers usually is, in addition to the increase of inflammation and sensitivity, is there is a significant amount of more pustules and or acne lesions that have more pus. So I'm not talking about the severe acne that may be the nodules and the cystic, but if there is a more increase of pustules, then benzoyl peroxide is going to be better. It better responds usually with benzoyl peroxide over glycolic acid, because when you have pus, that's usually a sign of bacteria versus just a clogged pore issue. Now, here is a client of mine in this picture. She had grade 2, grade 3 borderline acne, and when this picture was taken, she was probably, I would say, 6 weeks into her treatment. So it's starting to clear up here. And what we did with the series of her treatments is we did use a series of peels, but we also had home care. And as her acne started to get less and less, we did slightly change the products that she was using so that we brought it down and it wasn't so harsh on her skin. And if you look at the after here, this is about 18 months or so after she did the active treatments and the series of peels that she did. About, I think one time she did a series of a 3-week peel, and then she started coming in, we just did it once a month. Okay, so the final one is grade 4, and this is the type that has an increase of, you can still have whiteheads, you can still have blackheads, but again, this may include now, in addition to the pustules and the red papules, you can actually have the nodules and the cystic acne. And these are ones that typically you can feel coming. It starts to become painful. These are ones that typically when they finally start to appear, these are ones that you typically cannot extract. It becomes red and inflamed. It may form a bump, but they're very deep within the skin and you can feel them underneath in the skin. Now these are the ones where when it begins, they're so deep in there that when they finally begin to heal, what can happen is when you see someone who has the pock marks, the uneven skin texture, or sometimes called ice pick marks, these are not the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is the reddish to reddish brown scars that you get after the acne lesion heals. These are the ones that you may have that, but in addition, the ice pick scars or the pock marks, that's more common when you have that. And the reason why is because it is an uneven amount of collagen formation that happens when the skin begins to heal. Now, before we start to talk about the treatments of the grades 3 and 4 acne, if you are finding this information helpful or you know someone that may find this helpful, then please give us a thumbs up and share it with that person. And if you haven't subscribed, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. By the time someone comes to see me with this type of acne, they're really frustrated. They have taken a very long, winding, confusing journey, trying all sorts of products, protocols, looking on YouTube and trying to figure out what is the right combination for them. And what is really frustrating for them is when I do a consultation and we go over this really long history, they find out that it's still trial and error because I don't know their skin yet. And usually when somebody has very severe acne, one of the questions I ask them is, does someone in your family, have they had this type of acne that you know of? Because if they do, then it is genetic. Then that also tells me to set realistic expectations for that individual. Now, before I go into these types of protocols, it does vary greatly. And the other thing I do want to say is if you're watching this and you are using Retin A or Accutane or some sort of antibiotic, this can negate some of these things just because you are using this product. So this is very generally speaking, and I am going on the premise of that you are not using anything. Now, if you find that you have, in addition to the red papules and the pustules, you still have a lot of the flesh-colored bumps and quite a few blackheads, you can actually mix a couple of them up. So let me give you an example. If you find that you have a lot of these breakouts, but you're not really shiny, you're okay using a gel-based foaming balancing cleanser such as this one right here. Then you can use the spot treatments or the exfoliators where that does actually include the glycolic acid, the salicylic acid, and or the benzoyl peroxide. Then use a spot treatment using the benzoyl peroxide. For some of you who have really severe acne, I still would recommend before using oral antibiotics, and again, this varies on the individual, is that you can start by using some topical antibiotics, and hopefully those will respond. And the reason why is because when you start using oral antibiotics, it's systemic. So what that means is you are subjecting your entire body for antibiotics just to treat something that is locally on your face. And antibiotics will not only kill bad bacteria that is killing the acne, it's also killing the good bacteria that helps create your skin's natural microbiome and keep it in a good balance. And it takes a lot longer to increase that level of good bacteria in your gut by the time it shows up on your skin. Now, obviously, there are some people that have to take the oral antibiotics because their acne is just so bad, and that's called non-responsive acne. And again, it just depends on the individual. I'm trying to tell you just to focus in on what you need for when you have the more moderately severe to severe acne. Now, if you have the red inflamed and you've got a lot of open lesions, lots of pustules that have already opened and they're oozing, these are the treatments that you actually need to avoid. Here they are: microdermabrasion. That is going to break open more pustules and basically spread the bacteria that is causing the acne. So it actually exacerbates more acne. 2 is acid peels. If you have broken open lesions, that is one of the last things that you want to do is put acid peels on them. So avoid those. If you have the flesh-colored bumps and more of the blackheads, then acid peels are fine. Or you have some acne lesions that have for the most part healed and now you're treating the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, then yes, you can do them. But while you have the active open lesions, you want to avoid the acid peels. You want to avoid anything that could potentially spread that bacteria or open up active lesions. Another confusing thing that I have read from people on YouTube is what kind of oil should I use? If you have oily skin or active pustules, that's the key thing. The last thing you want to do is put on oils, especially nut oils or heavier oils such as coconut oil, because all oils have some level of sugars and essential fatty acids on them. When you're producing too much of your own oil that the bacteria is feeding on from the sugars and the fats of your own sebum, and you're adding more oil, you can actually potentially exacerbate more breakouts. So sugar and fats, just think of it of feeding your acne, the bacteria donuts. It's actually going to increase it even more. The other one is facial massage. A lot of facial treatments include some type of massage, and that can stimulate the sebaceous glands. So they're usually called European massage type massage or European facial, where they include long effleurage type of strokes on there. You can do an aromatic or aromatherapy type of massage where it's more of a pressure point and a lymphatic massage. That might help. But if you have actually the red inflamed and you're covered, you really should avoid all types of massages on the face. The other questions that I get from clients and sometimes the viewers is they want to start addressing the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, otherwise known as acne scars. Now, if they still have a lot of acne, or excuse me, a lot of active acne lesions, I usually try to redirect them to focus on clearing the acne first before focusing on the hyperpigmentation. Yes, a lot of the acne ingredients or the acne control products, one of the byproducts is it does lighten the hyperpigmentation. So you can get kind of both of them. But if you're trying to focus on, for example, let's say you have some active acne lesions that have a lot of the pus in them, and you have some acne scars and you want to focus on that. Adding lightening serums that have nothing to do with acne while trying to focus on a lot of pustules can be confusing. And so until you can get to the point where you just have some acne and more of the acne scars, then you can start focusing on the hyperpigmentation. I find for my clients that it is a lot more or a lot less confusing for them to focus on one skin condition at a time. One of the things that I probably would consider over the acid peels, if you have the active pustules and the painful cystic nodules and you're now being told to avoid those treatments that are typically for the more moderate types of acne, is light therapy. Blue light, red light, it just depends on the type of acne that you have. However, you have to remember this. If you are using products that make your skin photosensitive, like Retin A, AHAs, BHAs, and then you're including light, which is photo light sensitivities, you have to be careful. There is a lot of light therapy out there that you can do professionally and at home. But if you're doing at home, the way that you use it in conjunction with your acne products, you probably need professional advice to do this. So, and again, everyone is a little bit different, but does light therapy work? Yes, to a certain point, and it also depends on the type of light that you are using. The other one that can really help, and some of you are against it, I totally understand, is some people just need hormone therapy. They just do, whether it's some type of birth control, and you can go to your doctor and see. And what I mean by that is there are some females who have very aggressive type of acne where they just have a higher level of testosterone in there. It's just a genetic thing. So by taking hormones, it can just level out their hormones, and just by doing that, it can really reduce the amount of the more aggressive, painful type of acne that they may be experiencing. Severe acne is more than just buying some over-the-counter acne control cleanser or using spot control treatments or even just popping some antibiotic pills. It is very specific to that individual, and it can be very frustrating and very tricky. So if you found that you wanted to come here to this video to find out step 1, you need to do this, step 2, you need to do this, well, you are going to be frustrated and disappointed. Because acne treatments, especially when they are pretty drastic and involved, has to be very specific to each individual. So if you feel like you have tried everything and nothing seems to be working, and you would like to see this consultation, see if this is even right for you, then please click on the link below to find out more information about this consultation. Because remember, makeup is an art and skincare is